But if you want to do something well, you have to figure out where to start so that the person that's participating in this workshop, they're going to get what they need. That's always my goal.
So today we're going to talk to Diana North. Diana works in academic support at the ACC Learning Lab. She's going to talk a little bit about the TSI prep courses that are offered here at the college. So Diana, tell me a little bit about your role with the college and kind of what you do with students.
Okay. I started here in 2021, and I'm currently an academic support specialist, which means I get to help students with whatever issues they're having. I can help them with tutoring. I can help them with, figuring out how to assess where they are in their grades, communication with instructors, just all kinds of things that we have on in the comments to help the students be successful. It's very rewarding. I really enjoy it. It's not what I started out to do, but I'm really happy that I'm in this role right now. So
you and I had already talked about this kind of, before we started this. You were both former reporters. So it's interesting that you went from being a writer into this sort of field. How did you get to that?
It was an accident. Actually, I was working in the UHCL communications office, and I was a staff writer there, so I would be assigned different features and interviews with professors or whatever was going on campus. And because I had experience as a journalist, it was something I was good at and really enjoyed. And so what got me here was I was given an assignment to do a feature story on the UHCL Writing Center, where I'd never gone personally when I was going to school there. And when I got there, I was so amazed by just the energy and how much joy the tutors had helping students. So I went back to my office, I turned in the feature, and then I emailed the director and said, so what does it take to be a writing center tutor there? And she said, why don't you come see me? So when I got to her office,
she had a live one there.
Yeah, she did. And she said, I knew you'd be back. And this is what you have to do. You have to complete a master's level practicum in tutoring theory and practice. So I did that, and then I ended up being a full-time professional writing tutor, which is a wonderful job to do. I think what made me a little bit different was I didn't come from an education background.
Right.
I came from a communication and journalism background. So I'm passionate about writing, and I'm passionate about other people being better at writing because it's really important, and I couldn't convince people of that if I didn't really believe it.
What was the big adjustment to go from like media to a sort of academic role?
I think it wasn't as hard as it might seem, because again, it centers around the importance of the written word. I tell students all the time that say, I hate writing, I'm no good at it, but they have no problem communicating verbally. So I tell them, how writing can last long past your freshness date.
Right.
People who have been dead for hundreds of years still influence so many areas of our lives. And I get them talking about writing because the whole goal here is to help them see it in a new way. So I actually kind of took my passion for journalism and writing into academics. So it worked out, and I'm still doing it, just in a different role. Now I have a little bit different role, obviously, but I still do occasionally tutor students if there's no available tutor or someone calls in sick, which is always a happy day for me. So,
how does the Learning Lab work in particular?
It's a cooperative place where students can come in and go into the computer area and just do research, start a paper. That's where we house the academic coaches also, so they can go there and meet with them in person or virtually. There are some classrooms back there. Of course, we have the tutors housed both in the Learning Commons and also in the library. So, and they're all fantastic. I can tell you, they're all amazing, and they're almost always busy. We have a specialist, a developmental specialist that can help, and she basically works with instructors for additional help. For instance, she sets up these little math quizzes and reviews for students before they take a test. And then my director, Eliseo Herrera, he is like the guy that makes it all work. He's just a fantastic leader, and he makes sure that we're adjusting to whatever the students might need.
So one of the roles I know they do at the Learning Lab is preparing for the Texas Success Initiative exams.
Yes.
Basically, students who want to go to college, they have to take this test at some point.
Yes.
And jump this hurdle, I guess, before they can actually get going in their careers.
Yeah, and again, this is something I'd never done, and they had something in place, but it was mostly test-taking tips and things like that. So when I came on board, I was asked to do a new preparation type workshop for students, especially since this latest 2.0 Texas Success Initiative assessment. They've updated the old TSI, so it's a different test. So what I did is I just got all in there and took it apart and just took a look at what kinds of things are the students being asked to do. So, of course, there's the math portion, and that was created by someone who's mathy, which is not me. But the ELAR is the English side of things, and that includes an essay that they have to write, and then also the grammar, mechanics, language side of things. So what we've done is we've created a workshop that helps students prepare to take the TSI. Now, we don't offer the test. That's done in the testing department. But we just help them prepare. And it's been pretty successful. We've been doing it now for about 2 years. And happy to say, it's still going strong. The current placement chart, if people want to find out what's required, they can go online and look that up. But you need to know, whether you need to take the test or not, because some people are exempt. If they've met college readiness benchmarks and the ACT and the SAT, STAR, English 3, and Algebra 2, they may not need to take the prep. Okay. But if they haven't met those benchmarks, then they probably should come see us. They can take the test without it, but you obviously want to be prepared.
Because we have a lot of non-traditional students. Is that, in the past, like you had to take it at some point. There were certain exemptions you could have through the ACT and the SAT scores. I mean, has that really changed a lot in the last several years or no?
Not that I'm aware of. Okay. Not that I'm aware of. And again, you don't have to fail the TSI to take the prep. Some people take it because they want to get a higher score. No. Now, ACC will accept students if they don't do as well, but then they'd have to take developmental classes, which isn't a bad thing. But obviously you want to do as well as you possibly can. And this is a way that students can get a little bit of practice and experience. And so the details about the workshop, they're 3 hours long. They do cost $15. Anyone can sign up for it. You can sign up on Marketplace from our regular website, not from the pod, by clicking on Marketplace and then going to the Learning Lab, and then you can sign up. And each one, math and ELAR, is $15 in 3 hours. So.
You said something earlier about the Texas Success Initiative 2.0. What is that? I mean, have they modified the test, or is it just so what is that?
Instructors have told me that this latest version is somewhat more difficult for students to pass. So, and with the English part, they might pass the essay, but not the ELAR part, So,
how do you approach the material in these courses?
Okay, so the way it works is when the students come in, they don't have to bring anything. We have a packet and pencils, pens. They sit down. It's usually a small group of students. There's a PowerPoint presentation, and then the packet follows what's happening on the PowerPoint. Okay. And rather than just lecture them or give them tips on test taking, they actually go through the process of creating a mini essay. They're also informed about what it's being scored on, different things to be aware of that you want to make sure you're doing in the essay so that you score well. So it's a chance for them to do the actual work they're going to be doing on the test, and at the same time they can ask questions, they can exchange ideas, get comfortable with it. And then also the ELA part, it's exercises with some recorded slides in there that talk them through, say, reading comprehension. Those tend to get people a little confused. So, the presenter, it's always an instructor or a professional tutor, walks them through how they can improve at that. Once they've completed everything, and again, it's not rushed, it's small groups, you get answers to your questions.
The opposite of taking a test.
Yes, yes. And so what's nice about that is at the end, the packet also includes links and additional things that they can do to get better at what they've just learned. So it's a little bit different environment. Instead of an instruction type environment, it's more like a collaborative effort. And I just feel like it gives people confidence as well as detailed knowledge of what they're going to be seeing in the test.
And how often do y'all offer these? I mean, like, is this kind of like, do y'all do it on a certain type of schedule, or is it on a regular basis?
It's every semester. This summer we have 4 dates, and 2 in June and 2 in July, and they run concurrently. So there'll be the math one going on at the same time as the ELAR. This summer the dates are, I'm thinking like start at 5 p.m. and I think we have one later in the evening. So we try to make it as accessible for the students because we know that some of them are maybe in class like during the fall and the spring. So we'll offer one in the afternoon during the weekday, and then we've been traditionally doing a Saturday morning one for students that can't make it during the week.
If they want details just about the exam itself, and in addition to these prep classes, where can they go? Well,
they can call me. If they look at the marketplace, if they're signing up, it's got my name and my phone number, and then the math side has Maria Oliveras. She's in charge of the math. So we get phone calls, we get emails. We have some instructors who know what we're doing that share that information with their classes, and that's how we get a lot of students. The last year or so, we're getting a lot more parents calling and saying, I heard that you have this TSI A2 prep, and how do I sign up? Honestly, I don't know of any other TSI A2 prep in person like what we have. It's really unique.
So you got into academia more as a tutor and sort of, in an educator's kind of role, helping students kind of improve their writing. Well, now you're kind of doing some of this test preparatory work. How do you feel about doing that compared to where you came from?
I feel like it's actually beneficial because my way of addressing something that I don't know anything about is to get my mind to wrap around it. So I put myself in the role of the student. It's like interviewing anybody else. You try to get into their frame of mind and understand where they're coming from. So, yeah, I think it makes it kind of interesting because I learn as I do these things. But if you want to do something well, you have to figure out where to start so that the person that's participating in this workshop, they're going to get what they need. They're going to leave there with something useful. That's always my goal.
Well, thank you for coming to talk to me today. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
You can learn more about the TSIA prep courses by visiting the marketplace at alvincollege.edu. To read about these stories and more, visit alvincollege.edu/news.